So, welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Show. It is always my pleasure to come to where you are. And today we are going to the US. We're going to be in the US for this particular episode, and I hope you will enjoy it. And we're gonna talk about an amazing book, best-selling book called Reveal Her, Be Authentic. And I have the author of this book today, Francina Parrish. She is with us, and we're gonna really delve into the book and really understand the message that she wants to to convey to us when us potential reader and really see how she what was the reason for writing this book, but also understand how this book can help us to go to the next level of our greatness. So I'm just going to give you a synopsis of a bio, but she'll have the opportunity obviously to tell you more. So she's a prophetess and an entrepreneur as well, and she's been working in the financial industry for over 25 years and in the mortgage industry as well. And the book, like I mentioned, is a best-selling book, and we will know more about it later. So I forgot to tell you, my name is Mirai Tulekiba. You know me as the Greatness Engineer, and this show is brought to you by the Mirai Tulekiba Global Leadership Organization, where we help, individuals to really identify the gift and the greatness that they have and step into it. So let us know where you're watching from. Don't hesitate if you're watching live to actually be part of the conversation. If you have any question to ask to Prophetess Francina, don't hesitate, and your view is always welcome. If you're watching the show later on, you can always comment, and I will pass on the comment to be addressed later on. But let's start. Let's discover this book and also discover a little bit of Professor Francina's life, because I think the book is part of of her life as well. So sit tight and let's go. Another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show, the show that is brought to you by the Mirai Tulekiba Global Leadership Organization.
Real is important is if you just look at the word compassion, when it's behavior, it's something that can be learned, and it is something that we can embody through habits and through our daily action.
To get this idea that if we interject this wisdom intentionally, I call them needle movers. It's the needle mover that's missing.
Don't deprive the world of your greatness. Please. Don't do that anymore. Dare to excel, dare to be sexy, dare to be you, dare to be the best version of yourself. Impact yourself positively, and from there impact others, and you are not alone.
So, welcome, Professor Francina. Welcome to the Greatness Engineering Show. It is my pleasure to host you today and to discover your book and really understand, the message that you're trying to send to the world. But before we reach this stage, just want you to, add to what I've already, said about you in terms of, your journey and your bio. So just, the floor is yours and let us know who is Professor Francina.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Good morning to everyone. And thank you so much for this opportunity to be here this morning. So I'm excited, definitely excited and thrilled at the same time to talk about Reveal Her and Be Authentic. Me, Francina Parrish, as she indicated, I've been in the industry as far as finances for over 20 plus years, as well as mortgage. I deal with the industry in corporate America, as well as in me and my husband have a ministry together here in the U.S., in Florida, matter of fact. And we have two boys and everything. When I started on this journey, after my mom passed away, she transitioned, sometimes it takes tragedy in your life to help you reveal who you are. Sometimes tragedy is not always a bad thing. Sometimes tragedy is a good thing if your perspective look at it that way, meaning that it'll bring the best of you out. It will bring something out of you that you did not know that was there. I call it where it's doormatted. It could be untapped potential that is there until something provoke you to tap into to see the greatness that's within you. With me with this book, I've always had a desire to do a book. Always had a desire to write a book. But the story that I had to tell after my mom transitioned, I thought about, did she tell her story? What was her story? It wasn't for me to tell her story, but I wanted to leave a legacy or leave something for someone else to tell their story and to let you know it's okay to reveal her. Why walk through this life and nobody know the real authentically you?
Mm-hmm.
How can anybody ever get to know you're authentic? Are you being authentic with yourself more than anyone else? Are you being true to you? That's the biggest thing about this book is being true to yourself. No more masks, no more camouflaging, no more putting up the walls and everything about people pleasing or acceptance or, needing someone else to say you're doing a great job. You have to have those things within yourself. When you reveal who you really are, you can accept the good, the bad, the ugly, no matter what. You know where you're soaring to and you know where you're headed.
Mm-hmm. And that's very powerful, like you said, no more masks, no more, camouflage, no more everything, because, we go through life always trying to hide certain things, and it kills us
Yeah.
inside. So it is important that we have this freedom of, first accepting ourselves
Yes, it.
and accepting ourselves with our flaws and be really, really okay with that, because
Yes.
otherwise it becomes really, a problem. And one question that I have, is, you talked about, the death of your mom that actually, basically, was the breakthrough for you to really have this book out. And what I really want to know is, what do you really want, the person reading this book to get out of it? What are the key thing that you want the reader, if I read the book, what do you want me to get out of this book?
Great question. The biggest thing I want you to read out of this book, and I have several chapters in that book talking about my journey and talking about things that I went through. Each journey that I went through, and even your journey, some things may be relatable. Some things you can you can see I've been through that, or I'm going through that, or I'm coming out of that. What I want
Mm-hmm.
somebody to know is that no matter how you come out, you're going to come out on top when you're true
Mm-hmm.
to you. What I want somebody to know is remove the mask. Stop putting on the layers. Be true to you. If that thing in your life hurt you, be authentic with yourself and take ownership and say, that hurted me. When I was homeless, that hurted me. When I got disappointed, when I got rejected, when I was left alone, when I thought I was going to get married, all I had was a ring but didn't have a marriage. That's shattering, right? So therefore, what is it that took place in my life to where I had to take authentically me instead of moving on? Sometime in life, I want us to take a pause and pray, a pause and take a moment to reflect and say, where am I right now? in my season in my life, because something just happened in my life that was so traumatic that I didn't deal with it. We're so quick to have things that happen in our life and we move on from it instead of pausing and dealing with that moment. We're so quick to deal with it. Like, I grew up in an abusive home, but at that time as a child, but as you go on, it goes into every relationship. It affects different relationships with different people, because you wonder why you're so self-guarded. You wonder why just don't trust. You just don't open up to other people, because it's a familiarity. Somebody reminds you of that abuser, but that's not the person, but you hold that person hostage because you now don't let anyone get that close to you, because you're holding them hostage about the past. When we ever get over our past, we can greatly see our future. That's
Fantastic.
what I wanted to know.
And it's powerful because, like you said, we tend to kind to brush away from everything that is happening, try to move. And it's also because, the everything goes really fast, right now. And especially in the US, it's like boom, boom, boom. I mean, you don't even have time to reflect on something.
That is so true.
And you're already required to move forward. And it's really, I think a message to say, you have to stop and then really get to know yourself, get to go inside again, and get to, to talk to God, because that's also the important part, so that you can, know you, self-awareness, and then you start fresh to, to get to the next level. And that's a very important step. So we're going to have a small break, and we will be back to discover a little bit more about the book, and obviously a little bit of your journey as well, I presume, because it's, it's part of the story. So don't go anywhere. We will be back in a few minutes.
Is Kasia Trepanier. I'm from Hammond, Louisiana, which is about 30 minutes outside of New Orleans.
Our end thing is love, community, and never forget about the people that paved the way.
Art is the only medium to help us understand that there is a lot more to life than fight.
Whatever you do in your personal life trickles into your business life. And a lot of times people fail in business because they have not succeeded in life.
I want to be able to be contributing, one of those guys that really are doing significant work to better the lives of people.
Every change is linked to a consciousness raising, and change is conscious. And if you want to change something in your life, start with your breathing. Start to work on your breathing.
Leave something for people to learn from. Make a video, write a book, teach, go around, teach the younger generation or the next generation to help them become or follow the path that you've been.
So we are back after a short break with Prophetess Francina, and we are talking about a book, bestseller book that, I think you will love. And so we just going to give, a snip of what it's all about. Obviously, we're not going to tell everything because we want you to read this book and, help you. It will help you, like I always say, to go to the next level of your greatness. And one question that I wanted to ask you, Prophetess, is, obviously, it's very difficult, to write about, your story, especially if you yourself have been, through all of this. So how do you select the right things to talk about? And how do you basically, because a lot of people right now is all about, fake it until you make it. So how do you really, face all of this to really stop faking and making it, as you are?
Thank you so much. You know what I did? I took the most painful parts and that made the most prophetic parts. The most painful parts in my life is the most powerful parts that God want to use, because that is so sensitive. That's the untouched. That's the thing that you don't want to talk about. But don't you know, there's so many people in life that's walking around, they got so much pain, and they feel like they are alone. They feel like they're by themselves. They feel like nobody else has been through that, until you tell your story and say, you know what? I went through this. I went through abandonment. I went through rejection. I went through being, I call it the side chick. The side chick ain't always being the other woman. The side chick is always coming up second when you're promoting everybody else. The side chick is this person that I'm always on the back channel, or I'm always pushing somebody else, but you got it all within you. They're only successful by the things that you've already shared with them to promote them. But God has strategically given you a gift, and God has strategically given you something that he wants to take refuge. Don't you know God gonna want the glory out of the things that he put inside of you? God want to return on what that he put inside of you. So why we're not wasting life. We're going to encounter this life, and we're going to get the best out of this life. There's no longer time to be the second fiddle, the second woman, or the second man, or the second in command. It's time for you to go sow what God have given you and let that flourish. It's okay to give yourself a break and give yourself grace to say, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And the biggest part was, for me, was fear. Fear will hold you hostage. That fear will hold you hostage. That fear of soaring out, leaping out, jumping out. That was the biggest thing for me to go get my degree as a Christian counseling. I wanted that since I was childlike, because of the abusive home that I was in. And I didn't want nobody else to go through an abusive home. I didn't want another child to grow up in domestic violence. I didn't want another child to come out of that. But so I wanted to be a grief counselor. I wanted to be the balanced person that the student can come to and talk to about that, a safe haven. I wanted to be a safe haven. But for years, that spirit of rejection, abandonment, acceptance would not even let you go to finish school. You're started, but you won't finish it. You'll do it, you get girded up, but something happened. And don't get me wrong, life does happen. Life does happen, and it does put a pause on it. But my thing is for somebody today, get back on the track. It's never too late to finish what you started. And I want somebody to know that you can do anything. This book really came out of the scripture. God said, I knew thee before thy mother's womb. He's already knew you, because he said, I knew thee before that mother's womb. That means he's already have and tapped on the person that before you was born. That means there's already a person within you that God has already ordained, predestined, and got a purpose for. So I got some things that I need for you to do to get up and go forth and do the thing. I need you to be true to you, authentically you, and put away all the baggage. Yes, they hurted you. Yeah, they disappointed you. Yes, they rejected you. That's a part of the life. But that's a part that's girding you up to do your greatness. That's how you're going to be great, because you use it as a platform. I use all that pain as a platform to catapult me into doing things that I thought I could not do. It's the mindset. You got to renew your mind. The Bible said, renew that mind daily. I got to cast down every vain imagination. Now, don't think the enemy just going to want you to get up and be great. You're going to have to cast down that vain imagination and say, when the enemy tell you you can't, that's the more power. You say, oh, yes, I can. Because if you're telling me that I can't, that means that there's something powerful on the other side that I can do it. Because when I got on the other side, I found out that I could do it. I found out that there's greatness in me. I found out that the more I tap into what was hurting me, that wanted me to keep my mouth closed, and the more I open my mouth, the more revelation, knowledge, and wisdom, and somebody got free. It only takes one person to get free, and you will see the greatness within yourself. That's all it takes. You tell your story, and somebody else will be great and free. Somebody needs your word. It ain't about a title of being somebody else. It's just the title of being who you authentically are. The name God already called you is Saint. Come on, Saint. The name that he's already called you is my beloved. The name he already called you, my child of God. He's already called you the apple of his eye. So therefore, why not go ahead and reveal who you really are and be authentic? Everybody not going to be on board. That's the first acceptance of that. Everybody's not going to be on board. Even those that you think would have been on board. Yes, that's disappointing. Yes, that's a letdown. But nevertheless, don't you know, even in the midst of that, God already said, I can't make sure that you don't cast your pearls to the swine. Sometimes things can't come through the door because you got the wrong people on around you. Let that sink in right there.
Exactly. There's so much power in everything that you've just said. And we just realized that our stories is not just hours, you know.
Yes.
And that's what I see is that you have a story, share it, and it will be, it will help you, but it will also help someone who really gonna see that, you are going through the person might go through, the same thing, and it gives you, strength, because like you said, fear can really paralyze you.
Yes.
And it is important that we understand that we're not alone. It is important that we understand that God has already, a path for us. It's a done deal. And not be really scared about, whatever is happening, knowing that it's temporary for us.
Yes.
And it can be painful, but it's temporary, and we just have to keep going, and keep pushing. And
Yes.
that's really a key message for that. But some people are not strong. So what are the tools? Do you have any particular tools or strategy that they can, build on to really, go out and be themselves? Because it's one thing to tell them, but what are the tools that they can use? Because people are still going to say, you know what, I have no tools, I have no strategy. How do I get from here? How do I get out? How do I connect, again with God? So what are the tools that you think, are working or have worked for you so far?
Absolutely. Some of the tools and strategies I used was definitely the word of God. I had to dive in, after the unexpected tragedy of my mom passing away. That was a low point for me because my mom was everything to me, So now that she's no longer here, what do you do now? Where's your, because I thought that was my strength, right? So God said, I am your strength. I've always been here for you. I've always kept you. So I had to seek God. I had to study the word. I had to get in the word of God. And I know some people, they say, well, I read the word and I don't feel strength. Even if you read the word, there's strength in it. But the thing of it is, when you read the word, do you believe the word? You got to believe what you read. When you read the word of God, I believe in what he says about me. I make it personal. I put my name in the book. I don't put John, Luke, Matthew. I put Francina. Francina, you can go through this. Francina, gird up your loins. And then, you know what? Another thing about this, I'm not afraid of the new. Sometimes we're so complacent into the attitude or always being with that familiar people. When God started doing a work in you, he started bringing new things to you, meaning new people in your life. Unstrategically, people that will come into your life. God said, I will give strangers to give into your bosom. How can a stranger give into your bosom if you're not ethical or put yourself in a place and position for the new? If you're always around the familiar, I don't like being around familiar, because familiar always still see you as the little girl that you always know you as little Lisa or little Pookie, or they still call you those old names, and you fully grown woman, you're a fully grown man, and they still call you that because that's their mindset. God is trying to take us to a new realm and a new thing. I'm trying to show you new doors and how he gonna strategize that. He put new people in your life. You can't be fearful of the new. You have to take a chance and believe in you. That belief in yourself, that's a within thing. You're going to have to say, you know what? I had to gird up my loins. Yes, it's hard. Lift them lead feet up. Lift them heavy hands up, because it get heavy. Get your mind girded up. You have to really talk to yourself. I got to look in my mirror, and I put sticky notes on my mirror and say, today is going to be a great day. You are more than a conqueror. You have to tell yourself. The Bible said you had to encourage yourself in the Lord. Come on, use the scripture to work for you, to get yourself girded up. When people see you, they think you got it all together, but they don't know what it took you to get them lead feet out that bed. They didn't know what it took for you to get yourself girded up. You know what I'm saying? So you have to learn how to get yourself so girded up to where you can say, you know what? I got this. I'm put one feet in front of another. When I got a connection with the person who helped write my book and got connected with her, I didn't know her, just like connected me with you. I didn't know what it was. It's still God said, because the thing of it was, I wasn't gonna let fear hold me hostage of the new. When God's gonna do a new work in you, he's gonna put new connections. Don't be afraid of the new connection because it's unfamiliar. Sometimes we won't reach out or stretch out because it's unfamiliar and it's a new door. Those new doors are the doors that God is trying to take you to catapult you to the finding out who you are. You just take baby steps. I'm going to tell somebody today, take the baby step. Take the first thing. When you see that first accomplishment, you're going to be so surprised at yourself and say, wow, I did. I think the first thing when the lady told me, I need you to write out your first chapter. I'm not a writer. I'm like, how do I write? Oh, you can do voice. Write it, say it on the voice. Write it out. Your phone, the iPhones now, you can write it out. The voice do it and it'll write it out for you. It's so many things that is make it so simple that we make it hard. The enemy's going to fight you the whole way, but you got to learn how to fight back in the spirit. We have to learn how to fight back to where we know, you know what? This battle is not mine. It belongs to the Lord. So if God strategically downloads something to you and you don't see nobody else doing it, because it's for you. That's why he said, we're a peculiar creature. Stop looking to compare yourself with somebody else. If you're peculiar, you're the original. There's nobody else like you. If you're peculiar, that means ain't nobody else got that DNA like you. God wants you to be so distinct and be so authentic because he want to get greatness out of you or what he put in you. Again, he said, I knew thee before thy mother's womb. That means God already got a plan and a purpose. He said, everything that you're going on through your life, don't you know God strategically already had that part of the plan? I knew this was going to happen for you, but I need you to jump over that hurdle. I need you to become such an overcomer. I need for you to know who you are. I need you to tap into your power. So it's so much power within us if we learn how to speak life. My husband always talks about, how are you framing your world? The Bible talks about frame your world, frame who you are around you, set you some boundaries. I set boundaries. I don't let negativity come in my house. If I don't let naysayers or that familiarity. You have to learn to set boundaries. You have to learn how to study the word of God. I had to learn how to pray without ceasing. If something come up, prayer is not a strategic time of a day. Some people think, oh, I pray in the morning, I pray for the day. You got an 8-hour day. You think that prayer still lasted from 8 o'clock that morning? Come on. Don't you know you're still going through the day? Don't you know there's a noonday prayer? Don't you know there's a midday prayer? Because things are going to happen to deter you, to try to take you from off the course. So every then I have to pause and I have to pray. To say, God, okay, it's getting a little overwhelming. God, okay, this is good. Teach me your ways. Teach me how to come through this. That it's a lot of leaning on the Lord. It really is. It's a lot of leaning on the Lord. It's a lot of leaning on God and trusting him to order your path. You have to trust God in order. You know, it don't look good. Are you going to make bumps along the way? Am I going to make hiccups along the way? Absolutely. But what the thing about it is, God use it to work for you. He'll use it all. All of it's working for your good. It's all going to use because that's a part of your journey. How better can you talk to somebody that you went through something than talking to somebody you ain't never been through nothing? You can't help me if you ain't never been through anything. So sometimes I had to learn to say, this wound really hurted me, but this wound ain't about me. You may be the first to go through that, but you won't be the last. So even when I go through that, I look now for the person, God, you help me to what I just went through, who that person is that I need to go and testify to because I came out on top. That's what you need to start looking for. Who is the next that you got to tell your testimony from? Because that pain is purpose. Yeah. That tragedy is for you to be terrific. I'm telling you, that pain is for purpose and the tragedy is for you to be terrific. It's going to use it. God used everything for your good, for his glorious. I'm telling you, in certain parts in this book, I promise you, it will help you to learn different ways. I got a part of it about removing the mask. After I remove all the masks and stop people pleasing, try to be what they try to make me to be, or trying to be who they wanted me to be. How can you want me to be something that I'm not even comfortable in my own skin? Yeah. Can you be comfortable in your own skin? I wanted to be comfortable in my own skin. I wanted to be happy with me. How can you be happy and you falsifying who you are?
Exactly.
I can't be happy. I can't give you genuine joy if I'm falsifying who I am. That's just like somebody stealing your identity. Don't you know that's I call identity theft? I'm not trying to let nobody steal my identity. I really cover my social security number. I don't just give it out to anybody. So don't you just give out who you are. Stop letting people mimic who you are or you try to mimic somebody else. Be original. Your social security number is distinctly for you. You cannot let nobody steal your identity, or you need to find out your identity. I need somebody to find out who their identity. I need somebody to know the things that your forefathers, your mother, even if it wasn't the best mother, even if it wasn't the best father, let's go there. If you didn't have the best family, I didn't have the best relationship with her, use it. Use it. Why don't you reverse that to where it works for you? Why don't you be the first? I'm the first author in my family.
Wow.
Why don't you be the first? Why don't you be the first to tell your story of the tragedy that happened in your family? Because see, the family don't want you to tell it. But nevertheless, but that's your deliverance. But that's your breakthrough. My breakthrough is more important than me than satisfying somebody else to make them uncomfortable. My biggest thing is I'm not going to I'm not going to be uncomfortable to make you happy. We're out of that season. We have walked through season that people have been so comfortable with your mouth closed, with you sitting there hurting, with you bound up, and with you not telling the real thing that really went on. Some people are really, you making them feel taller and more successful, with you keep your mouth closed and making them comfortable. In this season, in my life expansion, I don't care who I make uncomfortable, long as it makes me comfortable and makes me happy. So I have to tell my story. I have to tell what's authentically for me, even if that makes you uncomfortable. So why don't you tell your truth, and then you won't have to be uncomfortable. That's how you can be authentic.
And it's important because the domestication that we went through is really difficult to get rid of, and it can be very difficult. It can be a battle, because at the end of the day, you actually don't know what's right for you anymore. So and that's why you said we have to listen to God. We have to really listen to God, talk to him, ask him what he wants, ask him to show us sign, and how to have this self-awareness about ourselves and really become who we are supposed to become, because the pressure is on, and we can see, people want you. It goes down to the education system, the same. So sometimes you can't really express yourself because people just want you to be in this box and not really move from there. And it is a hurdle, and it's good that we have books like that who can actually give us some strategies and really and stories to really see that it's working. Stories to really to build on, to be able to become authentic, to be able to really use the gift that the special gifts that we have, and be like you said, like an original, and not a copy, and so it is very important. So we're going to have a break, and we'll get back for the last part of the show. It is so if you're just joining us today, we are with Prophetess Francina, and if you've been watching, you see the energy, and I hope you're taking notes and you are getting ready to buy the book. But let's talk about it later. We will be back after this short break. So we are back, and we are talking about an amazing book, and I hope you get the chance to to buy the book, and just showing you the cover again, Reveal Her, Be Authentic. by Professor Francina Parrish, and really, lots of learning and lots of inspiration and lots of guiding, because I think that's what it is, that we have to really, point out, is that, guide. This is a guide for you to go to the next level of your greatness. Just identify it if you're not there yet, but also, if you have, an idea of what it is, get to the next level. And so one question that, I have, and this is going to be like a general one, is, you went through, obviously, you had your challenges, you have, obstacle, you have the book now where you tell, you actually, share, your story, but also strategies and tools for people to really become authentic. So what is the legacy that you want to leave, when, you look at all of this and what you've accomplished, and, with the book, helping, obviously, this legacy? What is the legacy that you want to leave?
The legacy I would like to leave with anyone, and they purchase the book, or just me by speaking today, and it encourage you or inspire you to just be you. That's a legacy in itself, of you just being authentically you, being true to you, and being healed for real. It's all about healing. It's all about being true to authentically you. It's about healing. I need everyone to learn how to heal for real, because there are some things that we haven't healed from childlike, from marriages, from whatever may have happened so strategically or tragedy in our lives, and we have not been healed. That's why we can't be authentic. That's how we can't reveal who we really are, because even in the book, I call it the revealing season. The revealing season is stages. There's different stages that you go through far as healing. There's a healing process, even believe it or not, even with me writing the book, and I had to go back and write some things and talk about some areas in my life, even in childhood. Do you believe I was at some tears fell from my face? Do you know I still cried about something? You know why? Because that means that there are some areas that I didn't cry about that I should have cried about. There's some places in my life that I still was not healed from, that I should have been healed from. You're a grown 50, 60 some years old, but when you think about that child back in when you was 10 and 12, you still had that little girl inside of you. So there's some things that you have to go back and get healed for real from there, and put her to bed. Put him to bed. Put that person to bed, because that's the legacy of being healed so inside to the manifest on the outside. People will tell the difference when you're healed. People will know the difference from when they once knew you until when they know that you're healed for real, because there's no triggers anymore. People can say things, or you have people that just know your story or know some things that just want to hit a trigger to see you respond. Some triggers now, you won't even respond to it. You'll smile at it and use it as a platform and say, you know what? That was then. This is now. And I thank you for sharing that. But now I can elaborate even more on, because can't nobody tell your story better than you. So the biggest legacy that I can tell anybody, be healed for real. Let's get healed together. There's a community of people that are strategically trying to be healed by just telling who they really are. Everybody's not sensitive or compassionate enough to know that somebody went through something so traumatic. And let's just say you didn't go through a trauma. But let's just say you don't have that bad life or nothing like that. You just living through life. But at the same time, I put a question in your head that I want you to think, am I living my best life? Am I doing my purpose? Am I on this earth doing what I'm called to? If God said, I knew thee before my mother's womb, my question was to God, show me what you've seen and put me in a proper place and position to where I can be revealed to be who you called me to be before I was in my mother's womb. Because there was somebody that he already put a name on, and he already knew there's something that I need to be doing. And I don't want to waste time. We have wasted enough time people pleasing and being everything everybody wants us to be. This is the time in the season to be what God ordained for you. I don't want to be in permissive will. I want to be in God's perfect will. So the best way to be in God's perfect will is to be healed for real.
Fantastic. And this is powerful, that, people are traumatized. There's so,
Yes.
that's, so many people are traumatized and we don't even know it.
Yeah.
And so it is important that, we push, we have those kind of, books and knowledge and expert that yourself, through, who have gone through all of that, sharing it so that, people can learn from that and
Yes.
apply it in their life to heal themselves, because we definitely, there's a big part of the population in the world that needs that healing, and sometimes don't even know that they have to go through this healing process. They just, like
Yes.
I said at the beginning, they just keep going, and then the trauma is there, it doesn't go, the is not, it's not removed,
Right.
and doing the same thing again and again. So that was fantastic, fantastic conversation. Just want to remind the audience again, Reveal Her, Be Authentic. That's the book. It is a best-selling, book. You can get it, I think, on Amazon.
Yes.
And and really, learn from, this amazing piece of work, and
Yes.
also story. It's a story. It's a
Yeah.
real story based on a real story.
Yeah.
Just, the learning from a real story. So how do people connect with you, Professor?
Awesome, awesome. Well, definitely thank you so much again for this opportunity to share. The book is you can go ahead and get it on Amazon.com. I'm also on Facebook as my name, Francina Rich Parrish, as well as on Facebook. I'm on Instagram as well. This as Prayer Parish. You can
Mm-hmm.
contact me through Instagram, that kind of way. And I have an email. If I said something that encouraged you, I have a Gmail. It's called Unstoppable Faith 01
Mm-hmm.
at gmail.com. And I'm going to say that again, Unstoppable Faith
Faith.
01 at gmail.com. So if you want to talk to me or reach out, let's talk about it. If you just say, what, this blessed me. And let me share this. This book may not be for you, but somebody who it'll be for. It's somebody that can be helped. Somebody who went through a tragedy, just may have a loss. You just see the layers. Because one thing about it, we put layers on. We put layers of masks. Don't you know we could camouflage and put so many layers on? And don't you know those layers become just bulky? And eventually you have to take them layers off. And that's how they can reveal to see their true, authentically you. After all those layers been peeled off, peeled back. Because one hurt on top of another hurt, another rejection, another disappointment, another negative word. That's all. That person don't need another one. They just need somebody relatable to see how they came out of it. And bless them somebody with the book. Give it to
Mm-hmm.
somebody else and just say, hey, I heard her. I read this book. I think this will be a great opportunity just to read it. And maybe that'll question somebody or unction somebody to say, you know what? This is the time in my life that I'm going to take time out for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I had to do. I had to take time out for me. I was everything for everybody else, but what nothing for myself. So it's time
Mm-hmm.
for you to take time out for you and be you.
Fantastic. It is amazing, strong message. Be you.
Yeah.
Take time to be you. Just, don't just go and, follow, the speed at which the world is going. You need to
Yes.
stop and really reflect and be you, rediscover yourself,
Yes.
and be you. And this book will help you do
Yes.
that, and I know there's so many people, even people listening right now, who are suffering and don't really
Yeah.
know, how to come out and really, become and the person that they're supposed to become, that God has, sent them to become here on
Yes.
earth. So thank you so much, professors, for, this powerful conversation.
Oh,
It
thank
has
you.
been really, inspiring and so powerful, and
Thank you.
and I know it's going to help a lot of people around the world. My audience all over the world will definitely love it. And you can find the book on Amazon,
Yes.
and you please connect with professors as well. She'll be able, if you want to continue this conversation, she'll be able to continue with you, or if you just want some guidance,
Yes.
that's also okay. And for those who are gonna watch the show later on, you can put a comment, or you can reach out to me, and I will connect you with Professor Francina for
Yes.
to continue the conversation. So that's all for today. I will be back for another episode of the the Greatness Engineering Show in about an hour plus, and we're gonna have Janelle Harris from She Exists, and she is one of my partner on this show. She Exists is one of our sponsor here, so it's going to be very interesting to have Janelle here and really talk about her own journey as she launched a magazine about almost two years ago, and the fantastic things that God has have opened, the doors that God have opened to her. So it's going to be an amazing episode as well. So we are done for for this one, and I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. And please don't leave it here. If if you just realize that it's not for you, share it. There's always someone in your community, in your network, that actually gonna really need not only the book, but also to really connect with Prophetess Francina, to understand a little bit more the process, especially if you feel like you're still battling to come out as your own authentic self. So thank you very much. You all be blessed. And I'll hopefully see you later. And thanks again, professors, for your time and for your insight today, and the power of your words today. So thank you very much. And we'll definitely stay connected. So so for the audience, I'll see you later.